I'm Kat Leonard.
I'm Megan Bradley.
And we are here still with Carly George, talking about eating disorders, her experiences with. And we are going to welcome another lovely woman, Dr. April Elliott.
Yes.
She's from Calgary, where she does many things. But right now she's from Florida, where she does all the fun things on the beach.
Like
and
cheer
just
on our Blue
relaxing.
Jays.
Yes. Welcome to both of you, ladies.
Thank you.
We want to now continue the discussion about eating disorders and what can be done. Dr. April Elliott, can we call you April?
Yes, please do.
I would love that. For those that don't know, how common and also how dangerous can eating disorders be?
That's a very important question, Kat. Eating disorders are serious and potentially life-threatening conditions, and they have many serious health consequences as well as significant consequences with regards to interrupting milestones in young people's lives as well as relationships. And it's really important. And first of all, I want to say to Carly, thank you so much for your courage and for your honesty during that segment. I think what you're doing is so important to reduce the stigma for young people struggling with eating disorders.
And eating disorders are specifically tricky because unlike other addictions or control issues, we all need food to survive. So we constantly need to confront it. How does that impact and increase the challenge?
Well, I was listening intently to when Carly was speaking, and one of the things she said was, how does she keep things in check is that she has to figure out her why. And a lot of my patients will say things like, I have to figure out if I'm doing this for the right reasons. And so when I look after patients, I'm also an executive coach. So I think it's really important to coach people, not to tell people what to do. And that was what I really liked. What I heard Carly say was, what's my relationship with food right now? What's my relationship with exercise? Because all of it is necessary and healthy. And then there's a line in which we cross that threshold. And Carly, I can't see your face right now, just on the screen. But I think what I understood you to say is I have to really have self-awareness and know why I'm doing that, because we have to have a relationship with food and with exercise. But what is that about? And is it leading me down the health path? Is it helpful or is it harmful?
Do you feel that you have a why? Did you go through this exercise?
Like in terms of recovery?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely my support system challenged me every day with that why, but yeah, it's good to understand the why and to be self-aware, like April did say.
Yeah. April, do you think that full recovery is possible? Is that a thing?
Wow. Well, I have some amazing people that have stayed in my life. One in particular, a young lady, I won't say her name just because I haven't had permission to say so, but she's an amazing advocate in Calgary. And she's working with us and with our eating disorder support networks and really advocating for young people. And she's studying, she's trying to become a doctor as well. And she's doing amazing. Obviously, I'm not in her head. I don't know if there's daily struggles for her, but on the whole, there's herself and many others that have come back and said, I'm doing really, really well. And so we know from the literature that 15% of people do really, really well, 30% do mostly well, and then, there's lots of people that struggle throughout their lives. So I think it's really individualized and what that struggle is. So maybe just thinking about food on a daily basis, but not doing anything that's harmful for yourself. I think there's a real spectrum.
Important are goals, April? Because Carly alluded to that. She said, I didn't want to miss out on my high school year. You're talking about your patient. Maybe she has some goals that she's aspiring to. Are setting short-term, long-term goals, is that really important?
I think it's very important. From my philosophy, I'm really into mindfulness. I'm into individuals having their own answers. I'm not here as the ultimate expert. I believe that people are the experts of themselves. And so what I always start with, what are your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And sometimes the goal is just, for young people, it's just to make sure the people around them aren't worried about them. And so maybe that's just an external influence, and that's okay. To be truly internally motivated takes a really long time. Some people show up that way, and I'm always amazed. But I think that, you know, if they can even just say, I'm going to not lose weight the next time I see you, that's a really important goal. And so we need to move with people. If we sit in judgment, then it's really hard for people. They're already feeling really shameful about this disease when they're showing up. And so it's really about us meeting them where they're at and moving along with them. And so I try to encourage all of my patients to have a goal at the end of their visit, even if it's just a small goal of, you know, one more tablespoon of something throughout the next day.
Yeah, and you know, Carly also talked about what a great support system she had, and it's when we talk about the treatment process, you know, working with the family members, working with close friends, working with that support network, you know, is that part of the treatment process as well, or would they come into the fold and working with you?
I believe family and family-based therapy, family-based therapy is the most important thing. If you embrace and surround yourself with people that love you and support you, your recovery is going to be so much better. I think initially a lot of young people are brought to treatment under duress. I don't know how that was for Carly, but you know, just continuing to recognize that the family is part of the solution. They are not the problem. They are fully embraced and brought in to make sure that you know, that young person who's been with them since they were born, the parents know how to feed them. Their parents know how to support them. And we're just there really to guide and help them along that journey.
April, what would you say to any young person out there who doesn't feel that they have that family support system and they really are feeling alone? Is there anything that they can do?
Right. Well, I think that, you know, there's some amazing networks out there like NEDIC. There's the Eating Disorder Support Network of Alberta. There's different support networks out there. And I think reaching out to that, because to me, family doesn't mean mother, father, mother, father, brother, sister. Family is any group of people that surround you, embrace you, and support you. I also work in street youth, and there's many forms of family. So I think if you are feeling alone, and you look and find one of those support networks, they can become also a family, like a family to you. And so when I speak of family, it's a very full term of including lots of different people, not your classic, just your family of origin.
I like your vision of family a lot.
And so I have a question, because something came up in your video, and also I want to address April with it as well. But, you know, people do have such a simplistic view sometimes, the outsiders, you know, we'll just eat, or just, you know, it's such a simple fix. So I would address both of you to say, did you learn techniques like when people would just say these simple things just out of ignorance? I mean, truly out of ignorance. Did you learn how to handle people like that over the years?
Maybe I'll let April answer that one first while I think about it.
Well, I learned something really early on from a psychiatrist from England, and he had a really great way of addressing that, especially for fathers that really struggled with understanding why their daughters were having eating disorders. And he used to say, well, what are you afraid of? Is there anything you're afraid of in the world? You know, and he used the example of a father saying, well, I'm afraid of spiders. He's like, all right, so I'm going to take a big vat of spiders, and I'm going to make you sit in that vat of spiders, and you're not allowed to get out of that vat of spiders. And the father was just shaking, and he said, not so easy, is it? And so it's really about helping other people get into that place and say, it's not just about eating it, because oftentimes it's not actually about the food. It's about so many other things. And Carly alluded to that. She said, I don't know, like maybe it's about body dissatisfaction, maybe it's about societal influences, but maybe it's about control. And so when someone says just eat, when it's not really about the food, it's a really hard one. And so for me, I try to use examples without shaming, because the family doesn't need to be shamed either, but they need something, some sort of metaphor to help them understand what the young person in their life is struggling with. So those are some of the kind of techniques I use.
And that's a great metaphor. I'm terrified of spiders. I get it. It would work for me.
Good work.
Or my kids.
So for the family, for the extended friends, what can they do to help someone? What are the warning signs that maybe they should intervene or bring something up, and how can they support their loved one in healing?
Me? Sure. Well, I think first of all, people are really unsure. When families first come, I know a lot of them are walking on eggshells. The eating disorder has come in and disrupted what is a normal functioning of that family and has created conflict. And I think the first thing I like to address is it's nobody's fault. Nobody should feel guilty. Lots of parents come and feel really guilty. I should have picked up on it earlier. She was losing weight, but I didn't want to say anything. And just to really normalize that this is unfortunately more common, that lots of young people, I don't know if you know this, but like 40 to 60% of elementary school kids are struggling with body dissatisfaction. These are like 6 to 12-year-olds. And so, yeah. And so family members are really scared. They're like, well, if I say something and it isn't an eating disorder, am I going to give my daughter an eating disorder? So there's lots of uncertainty. So I really try to reassure them that it's not their fault, and that they're there to support, and they're not the food police, and that they have a team that are going to help them and support them. And at the Calgary Eating Disorder Program where I work, we have such an amazing interdisciplinary team. Like me as a doctor, like I'm just one small part of it, right? There's like dietitians, family therapists, psychiatrists. There's so many people with amazing knowledge that are going to help that family to really start to say the right things and do the right things. And not that they're not already, but families that are unsure, having parent support groups, all of those things, because we all say things sometimes, and it's really about finding the right way. And it's going to be different for everyone. So what's the right thing for the young individual in their life? So asking lots of questions and listening lots.
Listening is a really key thing that is often sometimes the answer.
For sure, yeah.
Dr. April Elliott, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your insight. It was lovely to see you. You are free to go run along the beach.
Exactly. We're so jealous.
Thank you.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And Carly, thank you so much. You're very brave, and keep it up. It's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. So sweet.
Yeah. No, seriously, Carly, you're doing amazing things.
Thank you.
You're doing so well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
sharing
having me.
your honest experience with us and helping us process this together.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you for being with us here on the Curve.